Okay, so here we are on Riot's website to talk about patch 6.8. Now, first off, the music you can hear is the Fairy Tale Epic Theme Hip Hop remix. Uh, took a little break from all the Pokemon remixes for this video, but I like this song a lot. I used to listen to it while studying a good bit. It's nice. It's nice background music. Now, patch 6.8, they really didn't do much. Kind of like patch 6.7. However, they did change Ekko, so obviously we're going to talk a ton about that. But for the most part, they haven't done that much. They've just kind of done some small tweaks, and that's because the next patch, which is 6.9, is going to be the mid-season magic, where they change everything. So I might have to break that patch analysis into a couple of episodes, because I don't want these to be longer than 20 minutes probably, but we'll see. That's for that one. This one, they really didn't do that much. So first off, they did release Taric, and Taric is actually really, really strong. We're not going to go to any of these links, but obviously I'm going to leave the link to the notes in the description, and if you want to come here and check out some more about Taric, basically his ult is, the main reason that Taric's so strong is, well, one, I don't know, pretty much all of his spells are really good. He has a decent heal, he gives his allies armor, which, I mean, he did both of those things before, but now it works a little bit different and it's a little bit better. But it's really strong in the bot lane, and then his stun applies from both him, in front of him, and in front of his AD carry. And his ult does the same thing where it applies to both of them, but his ult now is kind of like a KO ult, and it can actually affect your whole team, just depending on if they use it right. So basically, when played correctly, Taric is a menace in the bot lane. I've played quite a few games with Taric today, and if you guys have been watching the pro player streams, you would know this too, that Taric is tearing it up. So that's good. I like Taric as a champion. I'm glad he's pretty good right now. And then now, second up, the big one, Ekko. So Ekko, they didn't, I mean, you could call them nerfs, but they're kind of just tweaks. They're what I call tweaks, because when I call something a nerf, I usually just say, oh, they just took away stats. But Ekko, they took some and they gave some back in different places, so we're going to call it a tweak. But he definitely needed it. He was, you know, almost 60% win rate in top lane. He was running rampant with the tank Ekko build, and then now he's still banned a lot, and I've only gotten him twice this patch, and both games I did win. So I would have to say that he's still good, but you know, I can't really tell until people stop banning him so much. So I don't know. But basically what they did to Ekko was his W's passive on-hit damage went from 5% down to 3%, but the on-hit ratio went, it gives you another 1% per 33 ability power, so it's a little bit easier. I mean, pretty much, it's almost you would get 2%, it's almost twice as much, because, you know, 33 is almost 25, and that would be twice as much. Basically, you know, once you get to 66, which isn't far from 50 at all, then you would be up 2% instead of 1%. I don't know. It shouldn't, I'm making it sound a lot more complex than it is. They lowered it, and it scales a lot better with ability power, and now deals a minimum damage of 15 damage to minions and monsters. They added that in just so, I guess on little raptors, I don't know what camp would have such low health that you would be worried about this, but I think this little part is just to help tank Ekko jungle. Now, we'll go ahead and finish reading it before I talk about what I think you should do on Ekko. So his E phase dive, the base damage went down quite a lot at max rank. It's all the way down to 140. That's 30 points down from where it was. However, they made it scale with twice as much ability power. So all in all, they hit Ekko pretty hard. They hit tank Ekko pretty hard. He's still good though, but basically what these changes did, and of course I've only played him twice, so I'm not, you know, I know what they've done to Ekko, but I can't, probably not the most credible source just because I haven't played him that much. But what they've done is they've made it to where one, Ekko's weaker early game, but he scales harder into late game. And I mean, that's always kind of been the center of Ekko's kit. I've always mentioned that in my Ekko guides, but basically that's exactly what these do. Now what Riot was intending to do is just make AP Ekko stronger than tank Ekko and make tank Ekko not so ridiculous. But I mean, in doing that, they've just made it to where Ekko's weaker early, but he scales harder. So what I think you should do on Ekko these days, if you haven't seen the solo queue highlights for this week, you should go watch those. There'll be a link to those actually at the end of this video. But I show the build there, and I mean, I'll say it here too. It's Runic Echoes instead of Cinderhulk. It's CDR Boots, and then Lichbane is your first pickup. No. Sunfire Cape is your first pickup, then Lichbane, then Abyssal Scepter, and then your last item can be Visage or Deadman's Plate depending on the enemy team. And it's just a lot. It's a bruiser build instead of a full tank Ekko build. I don't think that you should, like, top lane you could still go full tank Ekko, and I mean you'll just do less damage. That's pretty much what the change did. And they also nerfed gauntlets, which we'll talk about when we scroll down to it, but really they did hit tank Ekko pretty harshly. I mean, it's still okay to go tank Ekko, but it's definitely better to go a bruiser route. So that's why I like the build I said. And then that way you'll get a little bit of AP. You'll be doing more damage actually than tank Ekko ever did, and you'll still be pretty tanky. You won't be as tanky as tank Ekko, obviously, but overall I definitely think that's the best right now. However, like I said, I haven't had a ton of practice on him, so I can't give a super definitive answer. But basically what these changes did is made it to where you'll need more AP to do the same amount of damage as you would have with tank Ekko before, so build more AP, and that's about it. Galio changes. They buffed Galio. I'm pretty happy about that. Whenever I queue for mid as my secondary, and I don't know, Galio is a pretty safe pick. I actually have a pretty high win rate with a Galio. He's pretty easy. You just build mostly tank with a little bit of ability power and magic resist so that you get a little more ability power. And then for the most part, you just don't die and you can push turrets and stuff. Now, he's kind of difficult to use, I guess, because his ult's pretty unreliable, but that is actually what they addressed here. So they made his E to where the mana cost goes down. I mean, it's just down pretty much 10 at every level from what it was. And then the movement speed increased at earlier ranks. And that's actually pretty good because you max his E second, at least I do when I play Galio. You can max his... I mean, no, you max his E last. Sorry, I max his W second just because his W is such a great utility and it gives you so tanky. So I do like that this is up at early levels and down at later levels. I think it's a pretty good change overall for Galio. Now Graves is actually going to be our next in-depth guide. I'm pretty sure this isn't 100% confirmation, but I think next week we're going to do Graves. But they made Graves a little more like an AD carry pretty much instead of the bruiser that he's been. Basically they made it to where Graves' auto attacks deal a little less damage. But they deal more damage if you get crit, so it's more important to buy crit on him instead of just going a full bruiser build like people have been going. So overall, I think they're okay. I've been playing Graves a little bit on this patch, and I don't think that he's bad now or anything. You just have to build him a little more damage oriented and be a little squishier than you were before. So I don't think it's too bad at all. Kog'Maw, they buffed Kog'Maw's Q, but nerfed Kog'Maw's W. I guess that's okay. I have seen a few Kog'Maws in solo queue, and they don't always do well. Pretty much the only time I see a Kog'Maw doing well is when he has a whole team built around him, so maybe like a pre-made 5 decides they want a Kog'Maw comp. Sorry, my voice is cracking. But maybe a pre-made... Sorry. Maybe a pre-made 5 decides they want a Kog'Maw comp, and then those times I've seen Kog'Maw do really well. But for the most part, I don't think he's super strong right now, but they nerfed his W and then buffed his Q at earlier ranks. So basically that just means that he actually needs to hit his Q to do the same amount of damage as he did before, pretty much. So made him a little more difficult to play. That's okay. Master Yi's R cooldown is up and the duration is down, but its reset duration increased. So you will be using R less often, and while you're using it, it goes away quicker. However, if you get kills, that increases the duration a little bit more than it used to. So overall, it's a nerf. It's definitely a nerf. You can't look at this and say this isn't bad, but it doesn't ruin Master Yi, I don't guess. However, I don't think Master Yi is a great champion to begin with. I don't ever play him, and I don't ever recommend people play him. You can play him. I don't think he's bad, but I just, you know, I don't really care for Master Yi. But basically, they made his ult a little bit worse to sum up this. Misfortune. W duration is down, and the cooldown's up, so they nerfed her W. And Love Tap no longer extends W's duration, but now reduces its cooldown. Okay, so Love Tap, is that her Q, I guess? I don't know. I don't know about Misfortune, but basically they made her W rely a little more on her whole kit instead of just being a standalone really great spell. Olaf, they gave Olaf buffs, which are pretty neat. I like Olaf as champion, but these buffs didn't make Olaf super strong. I kind of want them to just really buff Olaf to where he's really good, and then nerf him from there instead of like every 5 patches they gave him the smallest buff that they can, and then he still sucks. So, but anyways, his lifesteal's up and his passive resistances are up. So, you don't really max W until last, at least jungle wise, because Olaf definitely can clear the jungle fine. So I don't really. This change isn't a huge deal. It did go up 5 whole percentage points at first rank though, so that's actually pretty significant. And then the resistances, more resistances are always better. So, I mean, it's definitely a buff, but I did play Olaf a couple of times top. I haven't actually played him in the jungle this patch, I don't think. But he's not super OP or anything. He's maybe a little better off, but I still don't think he's that great. Rumble. They kind of buffed Rumble. This could be seen as a buff or a nerf, depending on what side of the argument you're on. I guess most people would think this is a buff. But basically they made his R, they definitely buffed his R. They just lowered the cooldown for his ult by 10 seconds at all ranks. So that's a buff. But his Q, they made the damage to minions go up. And the reason that I say that that might be seen as a bad thing is because when Rumbles harass in lane, they use their Q to harass. If it deals full damage to the wave, then they'll just push it really quickly, and then that can actually help you if you're versus Rumble. However, I would assume that most people, disregarding that one little thing, it's still a buff technically. I mean, he can push out waves quicker when he needs to, and his ult's buff. So overall, it's a buff. This is just minions. It's not monsters. So I don't think that this super buffed Rumble Jungle still, it's okay. I would give it like a B- on my own personal scaling thing. So if you want reference, Kindred would be an S+, Graves would probably be an S, Elise I'd give an A, and then Rumble I give a B-. So he's not awful, but he's not up there with the really good junglers. And then they did a whole bunch of splash updates, which I don't really care about, but now we get to items. So Iceborne Gauntlet, they decreased the proc damage, and this was the other huge nerf to Ekko tank. Like, a lot of people don't think they hit Ekko that hard because just reading his stats, but they also nerfed items and they nerfed Grassling Undying. So top lane tank Ekko got hit a bunch. I mean, you can still do it, like I said, but I think he's better as a bruiser in the jungle. Probably is the best way to play Ekko right now. But anyways, they made Iceborne Gauntlet to where the on-hit Spellblade only does 100% of your base attack damage, not 125%. So just a pretty big nerf. What I do like about this actually is that it's a nerf to blue build Ezreal, because I don't like blue build Ezreal. But what I don't like about this, obviously, it's a nerf to bruiser champions that are a lot more my style that would get this. But I've said this in all of my every in-depth guide where Iceborne Gauntlet comes up. I've said it's probably one of the most powerful items in the game. So, I mean, they nerfed it a couple patches ago, and they nerfed it again, and now I think it's not that great. I mean, it's still okay, but this is pretty ridiculous that it's only 100% of your base attack damage. Like, is that no extra bonus? Yeah. I mean, this just means that it doesn't do any more damage. It just applies the slow. So it's like a full-on just for tanks item. So I don't know. Maybe put it to like 115. Maybe just give it a little bit more. Your Iceborne Gauntlets, it should be a little more powerful, but whatever. Mercurial Scimitar, they lowered its total cost, but lowered its attack damage too. So it's not. I mean, this is just a tweak, I guess. This is exactly what I would call a tweak. They nerfed its damage, but they also lowered its cost, which is a good thing. So overall, I don't think too much about that. And then they also have been changing the sustain. Corrupting Potion now, pretty much, I'll just read this, gives less health but more mana. And they didn't just do this with Corrupting Potion, they did it with Secret Stash as well. And I don't know if they... I don't know. It's weird. I guess they just want this to be more favorable towards mages that need more mana in lane, because most mages that need mana just go to Doran's Ring, obviously, because Doran's Ring is a lot better at getting you mana. So I suppose that's what they're trying to address with these without making them super strong. Yeah, that's probably it, because if they gave the same amount of health but just more mana, they would just be probably the best starting thing. So I guess that's what it is. Feast, the cooldown is down, and that doesn't really affect that many junglers. However, it does affect some. And basically, all this really does, and pretty much Secret Stash would do this too, any jungler that has a really weak clear and, you know, relied on Feast or Secret Stash to help it get through the jungle, these are pretty unreliable as far as the jungle is concerned. I mean, 30 seconds. I know I said this about the original Feast, that was 20 seconds too, but 30 seconds is a long time. You would only get that every now and then while jungling. So I know Feast is mostly geared towards laners, but it does affect the weaker junglers, and the weaker junglers are just going to be a little bit weaker. So that's about that. And then Grass the Undying. So it has less health and damage. So basically, you hit for less on your Grass proc. This, obviously, they want... well, let's see. They say blah blah blah. Okay, so they kind of act like they want different masteries to be taken in top lane, but I don't know. I thought Grass was okay as it was, and it's only a few champions that are super abusive with it, but I guess they're just gonna nerf it, and then I don't know though. Grass was definitely the best one for top lane. So basically. And it was okay on some junglers, and it still is. Like, if you saw the Maokai Depth Guide, I recommend going Grasp on him. I still do. But all in all, it just makes tanks a little bit weaker. Riot, I guess, you know, this is in tune with general balancing, but it always feels like tanks get a very short limelight, where tanks are good, and then Riot swiftly makes it to where assassins and full damage dealers are the best. But, you know, Riot can do whatever they want. It's their game, so whatever. Spell shields, they pretty much fixed a bug. Yeah, fixed a bug where certain abilities could pop a spell shield and still take effect. And that's about it. Yeah, all of this is just kind of bug fixes. They actually fixed this. I don't know if you guys had heard about this, but Sunhawk and Sunfire Cape used to stack on last patch only, so you could build both of them and then burn people for a lot of damage, but fix that. Infernal Diana came out. So yeah, not too much stuff on this patch notes, like I said. Most of it, they hit tanks a lot. I mean, pretty much everything you think what's strong in tanks, gauntlets, Grass the Undying, and etc, etc, it's all got nerfed. But overall, it's not that big of a change, because they're really saving off most of the changes for this 6.9 update. So that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and remember, I always leave links to the music in the description if you ever want to check those out. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.